Oh, there.
So thanks for joining us tonight. This is Kari, and I'm here with Cheryl and Colleen. We're the Consistently Creative Crew, and we're assembling the Noteworthy Simple Page Kit number 3. It's hard to believe we're already almost done with the 3rd month this year. And this page kit is a little bit different from some of the other ones. They varied this up. The background papers are almost the same, but not. So you see these are actually kind of mirror images of each other, and they end up their sample layout has this green border at the top on the left page and the green borders on the right page. And their paper that they use for their cut aparts has a couple of designs going on, and this ends up being a journal box, and our numbers and instructions are on the back. And the theme for the stickers has making memories every day, coffee and friends, spill the tea, book travert. So they've got books and cupcakes and coffee and tea and making memories. So a pretty easy way to adapt this for most just about anything. And the exclusive embellishments that you could get through your advisor, or if you purchased the bundle of 3 page kits, has these extra embellishments with it, which go very well. There's some extra books with a cup on top, a mug with a heart, a disposable coffee cup with a wrapper around it, and some very yummy looking cupcakes. So they look like blueberry cupcakes. They do look actually quite good. And I think this one looks more like a cup of hot chocolate in it. So coffee, tea, hot chocolate, books, and lots of pretty colored embellishments for us to use. This page kit will come together fairly easily. If you did not purchase the page kit and you wanted to use your own paper stash, we do have a PDF with instructions out on our Consistently Creative Croppers Facebook group, where we have the instructions for what the cut apart would be like, as well as what the design on the base papers and the way the layout came together on their sample. So you notice on their sample that they have, it's really, there we go. They have 3 square photos on both the right and the left pages, and then they have 2 photos that are landscape on the left and 2 that are portrait on the right. But you could obviously rotate this layout any way that you needed to suit the photos that you have. And I think that's all that I really need to say. So feel free to rotate, adapt this however is going to work for you. I am going to go ahead and work on cutting the one cut apart paper so that we have that done. And I'll go ahead and get started. So we're going to cut these pieces 1 and 2, which both happen to be 1 inch. So you could line this up on the 1 inch. Now, one thing that I like to always do is I like to flip it over onto the pattern side so I can be sure that when I run my trimmer blade that I'm actually going to be exactly where that line is between the 2 pattern papers. And you can check that a couple of different ways. We've got some guides on our trimmer. So you can use these plastic guides that slide. You can use the little pointer that's on the end of the cutting blade. You can also line it up with the dotted line on the mat. So Creative Memories gives you a number of different ways to try to check that. And you can see all of those with the trimmer, which is really nice. So that's our 2 1-inch borders. Then if I flip this over, these pieces that are 3, 4, and 5 are 6 inches wide. Again, I'm going to do that from this side because I want to be sure that I am lined up, because I've got two different patterns on either side of that blade there. So these are going to be, this should line up very nicely there. And each of these pieces are 4 inches, so you can use your cutting measurements on your to do that. So 3, 4, and 5, all 4 by 6. And then this last piece is another piece that we need to cut. And I like to, again, cut it on the side with the pattern because here we've got 2 different patterns. So even if the measurement is slightly off, I'll still end up with a nice cut. But it happens to be in half, so that's one piece is going to be one more photo mat. That's 4 by 6. And then this journaling piece, we're going to be cutting this piece in half, so it's going to be 3 inches. And so we've got that. So that's all the cutting for this layout. Again, pieces 1 and 2 were 1 inch by 12 inch. Pieces 3, 4, 5, and 6 all ended up being 4 by 6. And pieces 7 and 8 were 3 by 4. And the one piece is like a white journaling box with gray around it. So it gives you that illusion of being a matted journal box. The way they have this all laid out, the 2 pages are just basically a rotation of each other. So you've got, and you can decide for yourself what you would like to do with this blue border strip, because if you look at their sample, it is kind of hard to tell. Actually, you can tell it here. It's a little bit bigger. It looks like you're going to be over on top of blue that's on the base paper, but maybe not. So you might want to kind of figure out how your photos are going to lay out with both the landscape and the portrait ones, and to decide where you want to slide this 1 inch strip and how much space you need to leave for it. So I'm going to put the other items down. And it actually is fairly simple. So they had this tucked behind. And then they had this kind of staggered. And they had the same thing here. And then in these, there's like a marble crackle pattern blue, they put 3 square photos that were 3.5 inches square. So your photos end up being 3 3.5 inch square photos on both the left and the right pages. And then you've got 2 photos 5.5 by 3.5 and 2 photos that are 3.5 by 5.5. And the rest of the embellishments that they used on this page, they used the border stickers across the 1 inch strips. So they used these border stickers. They put an embellishment cluster on both pages, one kind of here in the center. They put some over here on the side. And then on the left page, they've got, again, another triangle going on here. They've got a cluster down here at the bottom. They've got one thing here in the middle, and then they've got one of the bigger stickers for their title there. So, and does anybody here live have any questions? All right. I think we'll pause for a few moments, give people a chance to do this a little bit, and then I'll... Okay, I've switched on over to my computer so I can create this digitally. And one thing that I was mentioning before we got started and recording, that if you take a look at the left page and the right page of their sample, you can see that if you took the left page and you rotated it counterclockwise 90 degrees, you would end up with a mirror image of the right page. So I'm going to take advantage of that fact. So I'm going to create my left page. And then I'm going to group it together, rotate it, mirror image it, so that I end up with the other page without having to recreate it all over again. So I'm going to do this as a template. So I'm just going to be filling all the different spaces with different colors. If you know what you're going to be using, you feel free to fill with your papers and whatever other things you want before you create the second page and rotate it, and that will speed things up for you. But I always enjoy kind of laying it all out and then figuring out what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go over to, I'm going to my Artisan. So can somebody who's here look at my screen? Am I still sharing my Artisan screen?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, so I'm going to start this out by going to the insert ribbon, shape, rectangle, and I'm going to do a 12 by 12 shape for just a base. I'm going to go ahead and do it with white for now because I like to have something down there as basically my base page. So if I have to make some adjustments later on, I'm not adjusting my background, because when you adjust the opacity of the background, things get a little weird and I prefer not to do that. So I've just got a white base here. And now I'm going to start by putting in those rectangles. So I have a rectangle that is 4 by 12. And this one was a teal one, not the color. And fill. And I'm going to pick something that's kind of a dark teal and click create. And I can just drag and drop it up into the corner and align it with the alignment helpers that show up. And on my screen, I have them set to be purple so that they typically stand out. But if you can't get them aligned, you can always go up to the quick access toolbar and align it at X equals 0 and Y equals 0. Then I want to do that green bar that's across the top. So I'm going to insert another shape. And this one is 8 by 2. I don't know why sometimes when I type, I get a different number. All right. And so now this was pretty much really dark green. I think that's close. And I want to put that up here in the top. And again, I can slide it with the alignment helpers to get it right there. Or I can go up to the quick access toolbar at X equals 4 and Y equals 0. Now, even though I started this page with a white base as the background, I know that from the sample, it is actually gray. So I'm going to go ahead and just change that color right now. And it was just a very, very light gray. And that was pretty much it. So that is essentially the base of our page. So now I'm going to go ahead and start adding some of the additional cut aparts and things that we did with the traditional design. So they had a 1 inch by 12 inch piece of paper. That was 1 by 12. And this one was a deeper teal. It was actually striped, but just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to make it a solid color. And I'm not quite sure where I'm going to end up putting that. Kind of like what I said to the people when we were doing this traditionally. I don't know how my photos are going to line up here or how my other photos are going to line up. So I may not have this positioned exactly where I want it ultimately, but at least it's there for right now and I can always move it. Then I need some photo mats. So I want, in this case, I want a 6x4. And this was a maroon-ish. That's pretty good. And I want a second one of these. So I'm just going to right-click copy, right-click paste. And I've got 2 of them. And then I have a gray piece, which is 4x3. And this is a little darker than that background. I'm gonna go with that. Great. I'm gonna tuck that in up here. And I want it to be below that photo mat. So I'm just gonna go onto my elements panel and drag it below. Now, if I look at my instructions, which I'll slide them down here, you can see I've got some things here that are rotated. I don't want to do that until I am done creating the page, done creating the second page, because when I start rotating a rotated element, it's almost too much rotations, and then I can have some issues later on. So just for right now, I'm going to keep them nice and horizontal before I go ahead and finalize my layout. And sometimes I like to keep my pictures straight. Sometimes I don't like to angle them, so I'm going to wait. So I am going to go ahead and put in my photo mats. So I've got these 3.5-inch squares, and then I've got the 5.5 by 3.5-inch landscape. So I'll put those in. So I've got insert an empty frame, make this one 3.5 by 3.5. And I'm going to end up wanting 3 of these. So I'm just going to copy and paste. And I'm going to paste another one. And I'm going to let Artisan do the work for me. So I'm going to go ahead and select all 3 of those. I'm going to align them horizontally by using the quick access toolbar. I think I'm going to go ahead and align them horizontally with that base mat that I had using the quick access toolbar. And the other thing I want to do is I want to distribute them vertically evenly so that the space between them is even. So if I go to the home ribbon, arrange, align, I can distribute these vertically with this button here. This button is also on the quick access toolbar, but sometimes people have a hard time figuring out which one it is, but it's this one. It says they're evenly spaced vertically. So one other thing I'm going to want to do, and that's just because I like it to be very symmetrical, is I really want this whole group to be centered in this column from top to bottom. So I'm going to group them together temporarily. I'm going to select the mat that they're on. I am going to do the alignment so they're centered. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to ungroup them. That just made certain that my spacing at the top and my spacing at the bottom was even. So that just set that all up very nicely. I'm going to hit save. And then I've still got these 2 photo mats. So I'm going to go ahead and add those. So insert empty frame. This one is going to be 5.5 by 3.5. And I'm going to line that on that photo mat, center it. And then I'm going to copy that second one, paste it. And I'm just going to use the alignment toolbars to help me get that aligned. Okay, so this is basically my left-hand page already done, already designed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use the tools in Artisan to make the second page more easily. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to insert a mirror image of the page. And I'm just going to show you what that looks like. So this is what I've got. You can see what I've got. And this is a nice layout already, right? But this is what I'm going for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the items on my left page. And I can do it a couple of ways. I can do a Control A to select everything, but I don't want to select the background. It doesn't like it if I go to try to rotate the background. So I'm going to hold down my Shift key, unselect the background, and I'm going to group everything. And then while I have it grouped, I'm just going to click my rotate button. I'm going to rotate it, and voila, I've got the second page. So now I can ungroup it, and through the magic of Artisan, I'll go ahead and I'll bring back my, that was just so much easier than actually recreating the second page. So you can see I've almost got it. The only thing that I don't have here is this white inside here for that second piece, because it was only just a gray piece on the left-hand page. So I could go ahead and do that. I'm actually going to do this a little differently than I normally do. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it. I'm going to center it. I'm going to change the top one to white just so you can see it. And I don't know what size I really want this to be. So I'm going to try it at 3.5 by 2.5. Line that up. Kind of see, is that about the right size border that I want? Yeah, that actually looks pretty good, but you can see this is sticking out on top. So I'm going to go ahead and drag it down my elements panel so it is below. And now I've pretty much got everything that was there on the left side of the page. So that whole idea of being able to mirror image, group everything, and rotate it just made creating the second page much easier. So are there any questions from the people who are here on what I did? All right. So I think we can, I'll pause the recording.
Cara, you need to fix the photos.
Oh, you're right. I do. I need to fix the photos, so I can do that. So those I can just rotate. This, if I rotated it, because it's just not square, it isn't going to turn out, but I can rotate it in the frame. Oh, that will show up when I do that. I don't know why because I don't have a photo in the frame. So once I had a photo in the frame, I could use the rotate. Since I don't have one, I'm just going to create a new photo frame. So that's 3.5 by 5.5. Add it and copy. Thank you, Lynn. All right, now I think we're good. So we'll check back in just a few little bit to see how other people are doing, and we'll show some final layouts around them. So we've pretty much wrapped up for the evening and wanted to just show some of the layouts as they are being completed. And if anybody wants to share on camera, they can, but we'd love to see your creations on our Facebook group and Consistently Creative Croppers. And there is an album already out there, so we should be good to go on that. So this is my layout. I don't have photos. I do know what I'm going to do with this, so I will work on getting that together. And I think somebody else had their page done. Oh, Cheryl, let's go ahead. We can replace that spotlight and see yours.
There it is.
Oh, I like what you did.
I did not have 3 photos here, so I just trimmed down a couple that I had and stuck those in there.
I think that looks great.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
Journaling and everything.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. Anyone else? And we'll spotlight.
I can do mine. I have to hold it up. I
Okay,
guess.
you can hold it up. Holding it up works.
Can you see it?
Back it up a little bit.
Back it up. Oh, okay.
Back it up, and there we go.
Ooh.
Oh, nice. That's
Very
really
nice.
great.
Oh, I like that.
I like that. I like that.
good.
Okay.
And yes, I
Lynn?
can share mine.
Okay, you're gonna have to, yeah.
Oh, I like
Oh,
that.
nice.
Oh, nice colors.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, those are such pretty colors.
It looks really good with the black and whites.
Make them
Mhm.
pop.
I think you're gonna enable people for some more digital
Mm.
art. You did really well the
Yes.
last time when you
I'm
did
trying
that.
to find kits that I haven't used. So,
Ah, well, that's a Laura Berger kit.
yep.
Definitely. Somewhere in Time Mega Bundle. Nice. Very
That's
nice.
nice. Yeah.
Thank you.
I like how that worked with the black and white photos. It
Mhm.
turned out well. Okay, anyone else? And I'll.
I can
something
share a
else?
half a page,
Okay, half a page is good.
maybe. We'll see if I can.
You can do this.
You see that?
Ooh,
Wow.
Pretty.
that
Well, that's
turned
a
out
full
really
page.
nice. That's a whole
Thank you.
page.
It is.
Thanks.
That is
I
really
like
nice,
that.
Lucinda.
Thank you very much.
Was that poinsettia embellishment a cluster that was already designed, or did you kind of create that?
I made that.
Very
Oh.
nice. I really like that. When
Good
you
job.
when you share it on in our Facebook group, be sure to share what kit you use so that we can all ooh and
Okay.
ah over it. And
Share it with what I use.
that's right.
Okay, that one's hard, but I gotta get better at that. Writing down and
That's okay. I'll share a tip of how to do that in a moment. Okay, so
All right.
then I've got, here's mine.
That's pretty.
So,
Jamaica.
nice colors for Jamaica.
and that's
Yeah.
a forever art kit that Forever created for those of us who went to Jamaica. So
Oh,
I'm a year behind, but this is last year. So
Very nice.
thanks.
Okay.
And I don't know that there was anybody else, but just a reminder, here's our schedule. So next week is our VIP class.
Oh.
So everybody who pretty much is here live tonight is a VIP, and we will be posting things out on our Facebook group. And I will try to let the people know what we're going to be doing when I know, and we'll get that emailed out, any instructions out to you when we can. But
We want a
appreciate-
sneak peek? Oh, no, we won't do it on this one.
Yeah,
I'll
we
sneak
won't-
peek when the
we'll-
recording's done. Sorry. Oops.
Yes.
Okay.
So thanks so much for joining us. And somebody's already getting excited about the VIP class. So that means that any of you who are not a VIP, you can always join us by shopping with one of the Consistently Creative crew with either Creative Memories or with Forever. And we'd love to have you join us. So thanks so much for watching. Please share your thoughts and comments in the YouTube comments or on our Facebook group. Thanks so much, everyone.
Thanks.
thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, Kari.
Thank you.